Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Look at this. This made me feel like it was funny. It looks like a little mustache. So I needed some liquid courage to get through the day. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. It's G here. I want to talk about the challenges that Black women have in interracial relationships. Guys, subscribe to my channel and let's have a little chat.
I believe that there's a person out there for everyone, but for most of you, that person's a therapist.
And I love the fact that more Black women are opening themselves up to dating outside of their race, right? But what I am noticing is because of the socialization that Black women have, they make a lot of fucking excuses for partners who are not Black. So one of the things that I really think that we have to pay attention to when we decide to get into interracial, multicultural relationships is our own state of mind. How we have been socialized as Black women to get into these relationships. There are different challenges, right? And a lot of them are testing ourselves. What I have noticed is a lot of Black women don't actually even know what protection is. And if you are in an interracial relationship and you do not have protection, you're in a whole fucking different game set with a bunch of fucking white people around you. And I mean that from not only a physical aspect, but the emotional and mental toil that these kind of things can put on you. And I think a lot of times because when Black women get into these relationships, they get a lot more criticism from the Black community, from their family members, from people at large, that they tend to try to work things out. They don't want to look like failures. Here in Italy, where it's predominantly white folks, right? Like a lot of Black women here do stuff they would never do in the US, accept things that they would never accept. And I'm always kind of dumbfounded by this. I realize is a lot of Black women have no fucking clue what protection looks like. They have no idea how to set boundaries. But I think because I have dated multiculturally, multi-ethnically, and really not had this idea, and this is my personal experience, because I know as a Black woman, the world at large doesn't protect me. But I have had men protect me. I have had men stand up for me. My partner now, he stands up for me. He protects me, even in faces of things that might make him uncomfortable and have to face his people in his culture. He protects me. And a lot of times what I've seen here, especially in Italy, is that women will make excuses for partners not protecting them. They're like, oh, we need to communicate. We just need to work it out. We need to talk about it. No, you don't. You do not need to make these you do not need to talk about it. If you find yourself as a woman in a fucking racialized situation and your white partner is like, you know what, baby? And he don't stand up for you, that is a sign to get the fuck out. There's no twists and turns. There is no conversation to be had. You should have known what you were signing up for when you decided to be with a person of color, a Black woman, and you know the world is what it is. If you cannot do those basic things, then you cannot be in a relationship with me. And I think one of the first long-term relationships that I had with a non-Black man, he cut off his grandma. And that's when I realized, yes, protection is a thing. That is protection. And if you are not standing up for yourself and setting these boundaries and setting these expectations with a partner of another race, your own inability to set boundaries and have your basic needs met by your partner, it doesn't matter what ethnicity he is. There's still some work you have to do to decenter whiteness as well as anti-Blackness for yourself. Because what you're saying to yourself is you don't know how to tell people to protect you, and you don't know how to center yourself in that situation, and it shouldn't be that way. Another challenge that a lot of Black women really face in interracial relationships is when you have another thing that you need to pay attention to. Sometimes you have to fight to be in them. You have to argue with family. You have to, convince friends. You have to be like, no, no, no. You know what I mean? You did all that work just to get in this relationship. And then it starts to seem like internally you're like, oh. A lot of times, like, Black women will stay in these relationships longer than they should because of the embarrassment they might feel having had to justify to everybody around them why they stayed, like why they even started it. Why they even decided to date outside of their ethnicity, outside of their race. Like, they had to do a lot of work just to do that. And then it's not working out. And then you don't want to tell your friends, he didn't stand up for me. He didn't protect me. He didn't do the basic shit he should have done. And you try to like, oh, maybe I need to. No, girl, you don't. There's another dude somewhere. I mean, alone is also an option, which I'm loving that more women are accepting that alone is an option. But being in an interracial relationship, having to go through those processes, sometimes people, they get hung up. And because you don't want to feel embarrassed or laughed at or like whatever it is, you end up staying in a situation and accepting things that are not mentally and emotionally healthy for you. And honestly, any like thing that is not mentally and emotionally healthy for you is physical abuse, because eventually it comes out physically in some way. If you are not doing yourself the justice that you need, it's going to show up, and it's going to be a hardship for you in general, and I don't recommend it. And another thing, and this is something that a lot of times people don't realize, especially when they haven't accepted that sometimes they seek out partners of other ethnicities for the same reasons that Black men do. Okay, they feel like, you know what, I saw all the girlies getting presents, I saw all the girlies saying, get yourself a white boy, all of those things. And they're like, you know what, me too, I can do it. And then there's validation in that. Because not only, and this is an interesting thing, and I think I'm going to do another video about this, because not only is it validation, male validation, but society has told us validation by white people, well, that puts you at another level, another stratosphere. And if you can't make that relationship work, what does it look like for you? How does that make you feel inside? And a lot of times people just aren't meant to be. It doesn't matter what their ethnicity is. It doesn't matter their like race. But because all of this shit gets tied up in how we operate and how we've been socialized and how we think about it. And what I want to talk about in one of my future videos is like that validation, even from Black men, when a white man has chose you. There's like this thing where some dudes are like, I don't want to ever be with like, but when you are with a white man, because Black men are more white male centered than anybody else in the world, they are nicer to you because A, you don't want them. B, they are like, well, if he wants her, she must be of higher value. And C, well, it makes them feel like, again, they can compete for something that a white dude wanted or wants. But if that doesn't work out, if you were rejected by that white dude, because you also have centered whiteness and anti-Blackness somewhere deep in your consciousness, that fucks you up. And you end up staying in a situation you shouldn't stay in. So I really want Black women, when we start venturing into these relationships, you have to explore what these things look like. We have to say, like, do I even know what protection means? Because there's the fact that we always talk about, like, Black women aren't protected, Black women don't have protection, is real. Like, we really don't. But you should have it in your partner. You should have it at home. And if you're fighting microaggressions and random shit that comes up, like this woman, y'all, this woman that I saw, like, she was like making excuses for why her white partner was letting her be racially profiled and told her just to ignore it. And she's like, well, it's a communication issue. No, it's not. Supposedly they've been together for like 6 or 7 years. This can't be the first time it came up. So what happens is she doesn't know what protection looks like. That's not communication. It should be instinctual for my partner to protect me. And trust me, these things have happened to me here in Italy. I have had like security guards in stores racially profile me, and he wasn't even there. Okay, it's never happened when I'm actually with him, but he wasn't even there. When I came home upset and told him about it, he went to the store. He talked to the manager. He Karen'd them. I mean, that's what we need. That's what we deserve. That's the protection that we are owed because we are goddesses. I'm just saying. Guys, subscribe to my channel. I look forward to the comments and chatting with you. So that's it. Ciao, ciao for now.